Afternoon, and welcome to the Good Money Podcast. Today I decided to go over a little history I've been involved in. And lately I've been noticing a lot of California podcasters and things of that nature with the Big U and Big Baby situation and all that. So I decided to go ahead on and tell my story about, what it was like being locked up in the California State Penitentiary or the California State System. And it was different because, for one, the lingo different. I'm from Michigan, so my mama was born in Los Angeles. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go to school out there. That's the reason why I end up in California playing Division I basketball. And so, I was fortunate enough before I went to jail. I was fortunate enough to understand the lingo and how niggas move. So I didn't have much of a curve, but I'm gonna let y'all in on some insight. So I think it's 1997, I had to go to Compton College for a semester to become eligible at Long Beach State, the Pyramid, Long Beach, California, Long Beach 20s, etc. And so during the time in school, I ventured out to the east side of Long Beach and copping some stress. At the time, we was blowing stress heavy. And so, copping some stress. I wasn't really blowing no kush, keep it 100. And and I'm a street guy, so, I always mingled away from the campus and got into basically some of the shit that I was coming from that was part of my identity before I came to school. And so I met a homie named E. White. E. White, he played at Dominguez, point guard, and he was a rapper, strong rapper, solid with Snoop. And so I used to always hook up with E. White from Long Beach. He was he was one of the Long Beach, I forgot what group he signed with Snoop, but they was called the something. And we'll get back. That's another ep about my dog E. White. Shouts out to E. White, because a real epic story, because E. White was a nigga who I fuck with in the hood, and before I got to know him, I found out that this nigga was a top point guard out of Long Beach. But I met him on some hood shit. As a matter of fact, I met Michael Wiley, who was a Long Beach State point guard in the past, while I was in the county, and he looked out for me. Shouts out to Michael Wiley. But back to the story. Share this video. Subscribe to the channel too. I got a lot of eps about situations I've been in all over the world. So subscribe to the channel. Share this video. Press the like if you like. Dislike if you dislike. Shouts out to Cali Low Chill. That's where I got that from. But back to the story. So, I had never really been to jail. I've been a student athlete, shit like that, in California. So how I even go to jail is that I'm running with some cats, and I'm pretty much the only legal one student. And niggas got some guns, and basically the guns, once we get pulled over, the guns end up being mine since I'm the owner of the car. Put it like that. The judge So I goes to jail, goes to Long Beach court. And when I tell you, I'm going to keep it 100. Them motherfuckers told me, when that judge told me 3.5 years on my first case, I damn near fainted. I was like, what? And I remember saying, what you mean? Basically 3.5 years to get my life together. Because they basically was saying, since you making these decisions after being a student athlete, you on the wrong side of the road, so you need to get your life back in order. I remember saying to the bailiff as he walking me back to the bullpen, man, I don't need no 3.5 years to get my life together. No, I don't need, this lady just gave me 3.5 years for a gun. He was like, just look at it like, man, you can get your life together. I was like, I don't need no 3.5 years to get my life together. But at the end of the day, I was off to jail. And so I had no idea I was going to get what I got based on I ain't having no record or not, but just being in there. But before I even get to that part, I'm just tell you about how Long Beach system is ran when you get locked up. So I get locked up, and when I goes to the Twin Towers. Nighttime now. I remember pulling up in the motherfucking bus because I was in Long Beach. Now, the reason why I'm kind of off is because at the time I didn't know that they was building a case on me. So getting on the bus and going down to the county, it's basically like you about to be there. Because if you wasn't, you would have got out in the Long Beach station. So I don't know this at the time. Hindsight, that's what it was. So I'm going down to the Twin Towers, infamous Twin Towers, and I see a guy that I knew from the streets of Long Beach who was fucking with me, getting me distressed, who I didn't know at the time was a nigga in the streets, was a Long Beach 20. His name was AK. And the other dude that hung with him, who took a liking to me, his name was TK. They had to be about 10 years older than me. And so I used to fuck with these dudes. They never showed me no guns or nothing. I never knew why their name was that. I was green. I'm fresh from high school. No, I'm fresh from junior college. But as far as the California system, I'm totally green to, these nicknames and things of that nature. So when I goes down to the Twin Towers, get on a bus, who the fuck I see? I see AK in a motherfucking one-man cell with all red jumpsuits. And me being so green, I asked the homie, basically I'm trying to ask him, what the fuck you in that cell by yourself for? And this nigga basically act like I wasn't even talking to him. He said his next words after I asked him basically what's going on. He brushed me off so quick and said, yeah, bro, I'm about to get married and shit. Started talking about his girl. So unbeknownst to me, he was in that bitch for murder. And so I actually go down to the county, and I goes up my first 7 days. Now I goes in there February the 1st. Now I'm actually thinking I'm about to get out February the 7th. Unknowingly that, so about February the 6th come, I goes to either 5600 or 92. I goes to 9200. Soon as I get jacked, I go to 9200, and then 9200, it's like a fucking a dorm where niggas that clean up and cook stay. So I'm in there for about 3 days. So for whatever reason, they transferred me to 5600. I don't know if it was work related or whatever, but they transferred me to 5600. And on my way to you going up they all you hear as you traveling all you hear as you walking through the fucking jail is stay on the white line. That's all the motherfucking police kept saying. Stay on the white line. Keep your hands in your pockets and stay on the white line. I remember that shit vividly. And so they transferred me to 5600. And as soon as I'm getting ready to go in 5600, they got a Mexican pig tied, bringing his ass up out of 5600. And I'm looking like, okay. So when I goes up in there, I recognize immediately. Hold up, let me backtrack. The first time I knew I was in a funny situation is when, as soon as you go to the county, the bailiffs be like, the police be like, blacks over here, Southsiders over here. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? Because I'd never been to jail, and I definitely haven't been in a segregated scenario where they separate shit by races. So my first place I go to was actually 4600. That now that I think about it, was actually 4600. Now while I'm in 4600, this is where it's February the 1st, and I'm thinking I'm going home. So the first 5 days, I'm in this bitch like, man, what the fuck? Take me about a day to get to that motherfucker. You in this bitch all night going through tests, seeing doctors, motherfuckers asking you all these questions. You in the line, and it's like a bench. And as you sit on the bench, you moving through the line, talking to people. You might talk to a motherfucker that asks you, are you psychotic? Then you go back to the bench. Then you talk to a motherfucker who asks you what's your religion and all that type of shit. Then you might see a doctor. Just all type of shit that I never been through. And so while in the bullpen before they close you out, I remember I had on some Nike jogger pants, some white and blue Nikes, and a white Nike shirt. And when they change you out, they put you in these county blues. So I remember getting in these county blues and just looking at all the niggas, and when they sent me to 4600, I still thinking I'm about to get out. You know, I'm thinking when I go to court February the 7th, I'm going home. Unbeknownst to me, on February the 6th, like I was saying, when I went up to, because in the county, when you get in the bullpen, it's like a split. It's like all Mexicans over here, all blacks over, and all blacks over here. And while I'm in the black, to give you a rundown, some of the situations I encountered, that's where I met Michael Wiley at. This is where I was about to get into it. My first encounter problem was with a nigga from PDL. That's what they was calling the homie. Of course, at the time, I don't know what the fuck that means. Now, how I get into it with him, I had peep game because in the county, in LA, black use a black phone, black read a black newspaper, black shit on a black toilet, black, you go to the shower, either nobody in there, you can go in, or you go if another black in there, but you don't go with no other race. Basically what I'm trying to say. This shit had blew my mind, right? And so I remember my first 5 days, before I even get into it, everything coming back to me, before I even get into it, with the homie from PDL, I remember a dude with tats all in it, a black with tats all in his face, and he had ponytails, four ponytails, and he walked up to me, and he was kind of aggressive, but not really. I didn't take it as that, because like I said, I knew some of the lingo, but I had never really been in the jail circuit or even in the gang circuit like that. And so, but I just been on college campus. And college campus, you got niggas coming from these sets, and they mingling, wingling with regular students. Yet, kicking the language and shit like that. Then going back to the that's one of the things that blew my mind. Then leave school and go back doing what they do. So I remember before he came up to me, he was like, "Where you from, homie?" I was like, "I'm from Michigan." Then the nigga was like, "That's right, right," and mobbed off. And I don't know nobody up in this motherfucker. So what I did was, I remember my bunkie. I asked him what dog meant, you know what I'm saying? And he said, no, he probably just, just checking you out, seeing where you from, because you probably a nigga he can't recognize. And so he said, you got, because I had all these basketball tats and shit on me. So he said he probably just feeling you out because you probably making sure you ain't an enemy, because he can't recognize who you are. So he's just trying to see if you from somewhere that he know. So I brushed that off. And so I asked the same dude, I said, "So what this shit like?" My exact words. Now this dude was like 5'5". I'm 6'2", 6'3". Strong, athletic, just really coming off of sports, running all the time. So I'm ready for war at the time. But I'm asking this dude, what is this shit like? And this dude tells me, "Man, fuck these niggas, man. Any one of these niggas fuck with you, you ride on them niggas, homie." And when this nigga said this, I said, "What, this little nigga?" I said, "Oh, I'm in a dangerous situation. Let me pull up my pants and act accordingly. Let these niggas know how I'm coming." So as I'm getting acquainted, I actually moved bunks because I started meeting niggas and getting cool with niggas. Niggas asked me what Michigan like, this, that, and the third. And as I'm getting acquainted, I moved bunkies with a nigga from Bounty Hunters, an old nigga from Bounty Hunters, who we call Bounty Hunters, and he had 2 fingers missing and shit. And me and him politicking and he teaching me how to play chess and shit. I don't know what the fuck going on with chess at the time. And so he teaching me the game. And we vibing and shit. And what I peeped out is that whoever is on the phone before child, about 3, 4 o'clock, you eat dinner. Whoever on the phone before child, if you on the phone when they call child, you wrap that bitch up, and when you get back from child, you the first one to get on it, right? So I'm peeping this out within the 6 days that I'm there. Before I goes up to, cause the windows and all that shit is green. And I remember the police being in the box, over watching you. But everything was green at the time. The police wore green suits or brown and green. The inside of the jail or inside of these pods was green windows. And I remember, so the day I'm about to get into it with the homie, I'm from PDL. Me and him end up getting cool at the halfway house later on. But the day I'm about to get into it with the homie, I'm on the phone when they called child. And so I did what I had been noticing everybody doing. I had wrapped that bitch up as soon as and we went to child. And when we got back in that bitch, you only gone for about 10, 15 minutes. You eating fast as hell. And they getting your motherfucking ass right back to the fucking dorm, to the pod. And so, what I had did was I had wrapped it up, went to child, and when I got back from the getting my food and eating really, really quick, I come back and the homie from PDL on the phone. Now this the first time I done seen somebody basically hop, skip the line. So when I ain't from there, so I'm watching everything. And niggas is schooling me, and so a lot of shit happened that really hit me to how I gotta move and while I was in there. A few situations that we gonna get to. And so when I came back and seen dog on the phone, I immediately was upset because I figured, okay, this gonna be one of the moments where I'm gonna have to put a demonstration down, because basically I'm taking it as disrespect, because this the first time I done seen somebody kind of skip niggas who done been on the phone doing child and got back, and niggas took their spot. So while he on the phone, while dog on the phone, I figure, I'm gonna get a nigga 3-4 minutes, because he know he ain't supposed to be on the phone. And so finally I said, you know what, fuck this. I go to dog while he on the phone about, cutting the line. And so dog gets so mad immediately, he slams the phone down and he mobbed to the shower room. Now I told you, at the time I don't know nothing about the connection between Bounty Hunter and PDL. So my bunkie was a bounty hunter, an OG nigga, older, had to be about almost 50 at the time. I was like 20-something, 21, 22. And the nigga from PDL was like in his 30s. And so when he mobbed to the shower, what I do immediately, I done took my shirt off and I'm getting ready to mob to the shower, and we about to dance. We about to hold court. But the nigga from Bounty Hunter, my bunkie, he said, hold up. And he goes down to the shower and he mobbed down there, and he talked to the homie from PDL. Now, they have a conversation. Now, the one thing, like in California, if you don't know, the one thing that I tripped on was it ain't just niggas ain't just gonna fight right then and there. What's gonna happen is niggas gonna bag up, niggas gonna have a meeting, a black meeting, a white meeting, or something, and then the rep, I gotta get to that too, the rep who I met, niggas that might know. So, and then the nigga that's considered the rep of the dorm, they gonna talk, and then some gonna go from there. So the nigga from Bounty Hunter go down there and holler at the nigga, and when he come back, he tell me, look, first and foremost, we ain't even gonna do that because we don't want the Mexicans to know that we disorganized. And he said, but the homie felt like you disrespected him. Of course, me assuming what I seen was the rules, I tell dog, what you mean disrespecting him? I was on the phone first, whoop whoop whoop. So he mobbed back down there and he talked to him again. And when he came back, he came and got me. And when we went back down there, we squashed it and we figured it out. And next thing I know, I'm eating with Michael Wiley, the nigga from PDL, smoking joints with the nigga from PDL, and all this type of shit. So now, on February 6th, I go mob to the window, basically ask them, what's going on with my case? Like, what time I get out and all this type of shit. And he tell me, you ain't getting out. You go to court February the 14th. Now, I'm thinking, what? What the fuck you mean? My paperwork say February. He say, no, they moved it to February 14th. Unknowing to me that that mean, nigga, you gonna be here. They know they got a case on you. That's gonna stick. So, so I'm there until February 14th until I go to court. Now during February 4th, during the time between the 6th and the 14th, one day, a old ass man mobbed up in the county. Had to be from Skid Row. Cause he come up in this bitch lost, don't even know where he at. And me, for real, I don't really know the rules for real. I'm just moving off of pure instincts, you know what I'm saying? I'm a nigga that been in the trenches all my life. Grew up in the crack era. And so I'm a nigga that already been in these type of trenches. And so when the old dude come in the pod, it's rules to this. And so you can't cross that line where the Mexicans at. Them niggas gonna boo-bop you. And that's just, they gonna have a meeting and the blacks gonna boo-bop you for even fucking with crossing over on they shit. That's considered disrespectful. It's like a lot of rules to this shit, right? And so the old black dude, he don't know where he at. And so he mob over there to the Mexican side. And so they have a meeting and two niggas from Harlem, two young niggas from Harlem Crip, they about to smash the black dude for breaking the rules. And me, of course, I don't know the rules, but I ain't about to let y'all niggas do that to this old man. And so when I step up like, oh, no, hell no, I'll take that fade, it's two little niggas. And a nigga from, I forgot where he from, but a light-skinned dude pulled me to the side, to the bathroom, and he asked me where I'm from. I'm like, I'm from Detroit. And he said, listen, I like the way you stood up like that, homie. He said, but you can't do that. My man wrong for walking over there. And he said, at the same time, it might be 100 of them niggas up in here tonight or any moment you at. So you gotta really watch how you move. So I was thinking to myself, oh, okay. So now I'm starting to get a little bit of how this shit go. Shit, you basically can't even, you gotta act like you can't even see this nigga. They boo-bop him. He crossed the line of rules. Ain't nothing you can do. You just gotta let a nigga learn his lesson even though he don't even know what the fuck going on. And so that's one of my first lessons. See nothing, hear nothing. You just basically mind your business. And so that was a major lesson for me. And so what I did was, so now I'm up in there. And so I finally, when I go to court, I get my time. And I come back. And when I come back to the county, they sent me to now I'm back in 46. This is the time where I meet Michael Wiley. He find out that I hooped at Long Beach State, and that kind of broke the ice because he was down with all the black niggas with the PDL homie. They blowing it. PDL had brought in some balloons. He must have came in. He could turn himself in because this nigga shitted out like 10 of these little balloons, and we blowing weed in that motherfucker. And I remember when I went to court and came back. I came back to the same 4600, and for whatever reason, they called my name 714-2148 to go somewhere. I'm thinking, what the fuck? I done got comfortable in this bitch. I really ain't trying to go nowhere because I'm gonna have to start all over. I don't know what I'm getting into, but I'm just this. I remember this what my thinking was, and so now I know I was either on my way to Wayside, but I think I went to 5600 where I seen the Mexican at. When I get to 5600, I seen them with a little Mexican dog tied, taking him out. And when I get up in there, blacks on one side, Mexicans, Woods, and others on the other side. The blacks tell me that they found a knife on this nigga. So, coming from 46, and now I know, okay, it can get even more dangerous. Niggas just got knives in this bitch, this, and the third. And so, make a long story short, I remember when they called my number, they was taking me to a place called Wayside. But take it back a minute. When I first walked up in there, it was a nigga from, I think he's from A-Trade Gangster. His name was Hot Dog. He either was from A-Trade Gangster, and I think it was. This nigga from A-Trade Gangster. And he, no, that was in Wayside. So what they did was they called my number, and me, I'm trying to stay in this dorm because these are the two dorms I done got comfortable in. And so I'm not really wanting to transfer and go place to place, but I don't know that where you going right now, you going to a place called Wayside Detention Center. And so when we get on the bus and we mob up the Wayside, we dress out from the county blues into all red. And I'm pretty sure it was some other colors, but the majority of the whole yard was red. And like you had some camps outside, some niggas step outside, and some niggas inside. I was inside, but I remember it being some spots where niggas was sleeping outside because it was hot. But soon as I get to Wayside, a nigga named Hot Dog from A-Trade Gangster pulled right up on me. They sent me to the pod, and he pulled right up on me. He said, "Where you from, homie?" I said, "I'm from Michigan." He's like, "That's right." He's like, "As you can see, we a little short." It was me, him, and three other blacks, and we had one phone. He said, "As you can see, we're a little short right now." And he was telling me the same rules that applied in the county. He was telling me where our phone was, where our table was, where we played cards, and all the rules. Because this is where we going to be. So, and everything else was Mexican and others. Walt Woods and people fucking with the Mexicans. It was four of us. And so, little by little, they teach me how to play pinochle. And I'm a quick learner. And so, they, and in LA County jail system, pinochle serious. So if you a nigga who can't pick up on the game, you a problem. A nigga will be ready to beat your motherfucking ass. If some shit on the floor and you ain't done some dumbass shit, right? Niggas be ready, niggas be died over shit like that. And so they teach me how to play pinochle, this, that, and the third. And I remember uh, the nigga Hot Dog coming to me and telling me, like, don't trip. This shit gonna turn around real quick. And little by little, more blacks came up in there. And we was in that bitch, militant as a motherfucker. And so I just remember being like, damn, I'm up in this bitch. And it's just like the movies, colors and shit like that. How segregated and shit it was. I remember thinking that. And so while I'm thinking they about to send me straight to uh, certain big name joints. I'm not knowing that my record or not having a record has put me in a situation to be in this thing called work furlough. Nobody, the judge or nobody told me I had a situation where I was gonna basically be sweet. So all this time, I'm thinking I'm in war mentality. You know what I'm saying? So the guy, I get 3.5 years. I'm in Wayside now, and so the tables have turned a little bit. We get more blacks up in this bitch, and Hot Dog tell me, it's gonna switch, and it did. And so I remember meeting the guy. I'm gonna be in this bitch for about now doing the way I'm gonna be in this bitch about almost 2 years. I'm in Wayside. Yep. I think I go from Wayside to um, Soledad, come right back to Wayside, and I'm up in this. I gotta go down there just to get a number. Basically, they using niggas as transfers to get paid to come in and out, get that money for travel and all that. So I get back to Wayside, and I remember being up in this motherfucker, and this dude from New York, he was like an author. I met a lot of funny niggas up in there, but he was like an author. And this nigga used to, when he found out that I was a nigga that used to play on TV and shit like that, this nigga started writing a book on my life. And me and him was handball teammates. During the time I was in the Wayside and the county, they would take us up to the gym and we would be playing handball, some shit I never played but was a dog at that shit. And a lot of the top niggas wanted to be my teammate or go against, you know what I'm saying, niggas was betting money on the homie. In the basketball shit, it just wasn't, I'm fucking over niggas up in the court. You know what I'm saying? They had these rims about 13 fucking feet. So after all that said and done, I remember, walking the yard. No, it wasn't no. Yeah, I remember because even in Wayside, they have some times where you go outside to the courts, and it's a whole bunch of courts, and all you see is homies in all red, whether it's black, Mexican, or whatever. And you just see a whole bunch of niggas up in that bitch, and you hooping and shit, niggas on the sideline and shit like that. Just real jail shit, right? And so I remember one day, probably about, I had been in this motherfucker about almost a year and some change. I remember one day waking up and I was just, I'm fresh off of playing on TV, hooping on against the top players in the country. I remember one day waking up and just feeling sad as hell. And a couple tears rolled down my motherfucking eyes like, damn, I done fucked my life up. I'm up in this motherfucker. Now look, while I'm up in there, I'm meeting niggas who done been up in the NFL. It was a UCLA quarterback in that bitch. Excuse me. I forgot his name, but I'm meeting niggas that was just on UBN. So it's not like I'm the only nigga that just done. I'm meeting all type of niggas in this bitch. I can't believe some of the niggas readily faces I'm seeing up in this bitch. And so a tear rolled down my eyes. And that same day, out of nowhere, I heard the motherfucking bailiff say 714-2148, rolled it up. And my dumb ass, I heard him call my motherfucking inmate number. I goes up to the window because I couldn't believe this shit. I'm thinking, what the fuck are they calling me for? And where am I going? That motherfucker said 7142. I goes up to the window and I asked this motherfucker, did you call 714-21? This nigga said, nigga, roll it up but stay here, motherfucker. Man, I ran back to my motherfucking bunk, got all my shit. Of course, Shabazz. His name was Shabazz from New York. I gave him my, some of the most pettiest shit, meaning a lot up in that bitch. I gave this nigga my soap, slippers, and shit like that. And just the shit that you had in there, shampoo and shit like that, because I was well taken care of. And so what I did was them niggas called us out to the hallway, and I noticed it was about 8 niggas. They put us back in shackles. 8 of us had on county blues. And these niggas was taking us. Now, I don't know where the fuck they taking us. But what had happened, 2 big ass niggas had came to get us. They was taking us back to the county to our process to go to the halfway house. So what they did was, I don't know this at the time. I'm just thinking, where the fuck am I going? But I'm happy as fuck that I'm even just moving around, because I just got tired of being in the same spot every day, right? And so what I did was, after I just said and listened. So I get back in shackles, and these niggas take us back to the county. Now, when I get back to the county, I'm pissed because I don't know what's going on, and I'm just so tired of being here. I'm to the point where I'm tired of being locked up. Like, I'm happy I'm at the county just for movement. With the fact that I don't know what's going on and still locked up, it's still fucking with me, right? So check this out. So I remember, now you back in the bullpen with all the niggas who just coming in. You back in the bullshit. You sleeping on the floor with niggas and just being around dirty ass niggas who just got off the street. Or clean niggas, but it's just a place you don't want to even be. You don't know when they coming to get you. You don't know when your number getting called to get up out this motherfucker. Even though they just came and got you up out a place where you was settled in. And you done gave all your shit away. So out of nowhere, after being in that bitch about 10 hours, like I said, you go in California, in LA County, the walls and shit is like, it's not pink, but they like cream inside. And all you got is typical shit. One toilet, a whole bunch of niggas, a couple benches, and the floor. If you gotta take a shit or so, you most likely ain't even gonna take no shit because your whole life has changed. You ain't ate much. Your body not even functioning like normal, right? Can't remember a phone number, none of this shit. So I'm up in this motherfucker, and them motherfuckers finally called my name. And when they called my name, they brought me, put me back in chains or walked me somewhere. And when they took me to another bullpen, same structure, but this bullpen, it was like some niggas who was going home. And so, next thing you know, they came, took me through the system, brought me back to get my bag, my clothes, and all this type of shit. Some niggas was going home, and the niggas like me was going to a halfway house called the Scapler House. It was on 108th and Main Street. It was called the Scapler House. Now, soon as I get to the Scapler House, who I see? I see the nigga from PDL. Now, the Scapler House is supposed to be a non-politic place. It's basically supposed to be no gang violence, peace, this, that, and the third. This how it's brought to me. And it's work follow. Mean some people they work and come back to this place, and people like me, we go clean up the fucking streets of LA with a probation officer, and that pays for us to stay there, right? So when I first get there, the first day, I get assigned a room, and the homie who is two people to a room, but the room I had to stay in, they had to roll me a bed in because the dude who was leaving, he wasn't leaving till the next day. And so while I was there, I asked him a couple questions about who, what the shit was like, this, that, and the third. And he told me the number one thing you need to do is get close with the nigga Frank. Frank was a little short nigga with a jerry curl, and he ran the building. So when the dude, his people came the next day, he leave, and now it's me and another dude in the room. And so I immediately try to get cool with Frank, and Frank brushed me the fuck off. Because my property, he don't know who the fuck I am. And my property ain't got to me yet. And so I'm just a nigga in there just with the same clothes, just. And so 2 days later, my property came. And my property came. Excuse me. Woo. My property came. Some of my college pictures. Damn. Some of my college pictures was in the bag. Hold on. Some of my college pictures was in the bag, and when he seen, and they got to go through your bag and shit. And when he seen that I was a nigga who was just hooping and shit, he little by little got cool with me. So, I'm playing ping pong, going out. Now, when I get to the place, It's a pecking order. I found out that I'm gonna be doing most of my time, or the rest of my time, in the scapular house. So how it goes is, in the morning, when Officer Ware come pick you up, it's like a pecking order. The niggas who been here, they sit in the front seat. And the further or the most time you got, you in the back. So a Mexican in the front seat, a Vato in the front seat. I remember us calling him that because he getting ready to go home. Another Mexican about to come up to the front seat, and I'm already knowing I'm about to challenge all this shit. I'm about to challenge this whole pecking order. So, Officer Ware come pick us up. He take us to places to clean up. But a lot of times, he'd take us to the park, give us our food and shit, let us hoop and play dominoes, shit like that. Just a solid dude. So, old boy leave. Then the Mexican homie get up in the seat. I'm getting real acquainted with everybody. Niggas bringing me weed. I'm blowing weed in the space where niggas out of Black and Miles, where we play ping pong and shit outside. I'm locked in with some Mexican homies. One of them was really old. He let me borrow some money one time. And my roommate is a Chinese that got me a phone. I'm calling the crib, and he used to work for a phone company, so any phone, he knew how to turn this bitch on. So I got a phone. I'm using the phone. It's lovely. So when the first Vato leave, the next Vato get up there. He don't have the personality of the first one, calm and collect him. He figured he got to stunt and do all this extra shit and Officer Ware like him too. He cool. But he only had a short time. So I tolerated him a little bit. So what we do sometimes, a truck will come follow where we at, and we'll put all the trash and shit that we done picked up from the alley or wherever we at in that truck, and they'll go dump it. Me, I was the guy on the back of the truck, and the homies throw it up from the ground, and I'll pile it up neat so we can get as much on there, being that I was the tallest it can reach. At the time, I'm lifting weights, I'm playing ball. I'm really like I'm training for something. But a few times I had a few situations where I had to put some demonstrations down. And so one of the times was, as I'm on the trucks, one of the black homies, he throwing the shit up blindly. And the shit is hitting me all in my shit. And I tell him, look, man, when y'all throw this shit up there, you got to look where I'm at so you won't just be tossing the shit on me. And he listened, and a couple minutes down the road, he stepped doing him. He kept doing it. I done jumped off, started choking the fuck out of him. But the problem was the foreman, or the nigga who watch over the whole program, was in the car watching. So they about to send me back to the motherfucking county. But since I had basically started to get really, really known, they let me stay. Now, at the time, Once he found out I'm Hooper and this, and the third, now I'm getting all the perks. I mean, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles instead of the cafeteria food. My girl at the time get to come down here. I'm fucking her in the parking lot. I'm in a real movie. But another time I'm in the weight room and the Mexican homies, one name was Mikey, I remember his name, and another one, they figured they're gonna challenge me based on how I move. And you know, the one crazy thing I never really thought about, well, I always thought about, you know, where I'm from, I don't give a fuck what race you is. Wherever you violate, that's where the fuck we gonna get it in at. I ain't going to talk to nobody. But in Cali, it's a thing about in these institutions where niggas gonna have another talk with somebody else and another nigga gonna talk with a leader of each race before it just go down. I guess because it ain't no one-on-ones or whatever. The program don't want to fuck the program up. I get it, but I was on the weight bench, incline weight bench, and I got up for a second, and when I went back, the homie Mikey, now I'm in there with another black. The homie Mikey immediately pulls up on me, trying to hold me on the bench. These are little Mexicans. I'm a nigga who would have been in at least 40 fights. Even in college, I'm fighting teammates and everything. I'm one of them type of niggas who you say something to me, we gonna have to put a demonstration together. And so, now I'm lifting weights with the gloves on and everything. So I'm in real fight mode. So before I can even respond to Mikey, the nigga who I'm about to end up getting a fight with, he mob up to the other side of me and say, you already know it ain't gonna be on one-on-ones. A split second, I looked at the black homie. This nigga put his head down. Now, this nigga was a tough ball player, short, cocky-ass nigga about the same size as the Mexicans. A little nigga, but these niggas were little pit bulls. So, I guess I ain't respond quick enough. The nigga say, we can go in the bathroom. And why he say that? Now the black dude and the Mexican Mikey get involved. And how they get involved, they stand by the door. I go in first. I'm about to punish this one. No, he goes in first. And when I goes in there, because we got to watch out. So he goes in. And when I walks in, the first thing he say to me was, all I was saying was, Holmes, and this too late for that. I put down a demonstration show. Pop, 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 pop. I had it took about a good three seconds, and it was pretty much over after the first two blows, because he ended up being in the shower and saying, you got me, Holmes. You got me. And so when I walked back out of there, I went back to my dorm room, and they went back to their way. But I fucked them up so bad that next thing you know, the nigga Frank started calling me on the intercom. O'Neal report the Detroit, because I had got a nickname called the Detroit Strangler from them incidents that I was down in on that truck. This nigga joke was the Detroit Strangler. This nigga was my man's at the time. And so he said report to the office. Now, when you have any incident in the halfway house, it's immediately going back to the joint, to the county, to go back to the joint. And so in order not to send me back, I'm that nigga at this time. I got girls coming up to do my hair. I'm basically living like a Division I player in the system. And low-key, Frank is loving what I'm doing because he low-key come up in a racist hood in LA, and the Mexicans and blacks don't get along at all. So them niggas wanna keep, and now they wanna keep some niggas who don't give a fuck in that bitch. And so soon as I punish before he even called me, soon as I punish the Mexican, now we have a black meeting. Now I noticed this shit from the county. You always have black meetings, they always have meetings. Now let's talk about that right quick. In the black meetings, one thing I was in the county, the first black meeting I was in, the one thing I respect about Cali niggas, for real, is that we had a black meeting and this one big ass nigga about 6'7", all muscle. He was in the meeting. He said, listen, man, I don't even know why we having this meeting because a lot of you niggas ain't gonna do shit no way. And I felt like that was pretty fucked up to say. And me, I was, just a new nigga really feeling my way out. This nigga bypassed everybody in the fucking meeting and went to the next 6'7" nigga and said, cause nigga, we can get on right now. And so to me, I respected that to the point where I noticed they whole get on is if you ain't just gonna beat up on a nigga, you gonna tell that nigga to go get somebody he respect, cause this is an unfair fight in some people's eyes based on the weight and shit like that. So nigga ain't even gonna beat you unless you just do some dumbass shit. But nigga gonna prove who he is by fucking with a nigga his size and his weight or his name and his game. You feel what I'm talking about? Nigga ain't gonna be fucking over no victims. You don't get no props by fucking over no niggas who ain't about that life. So that's one of the things I always loved and carried with me as I moved around in my life, I don't fuck over niggas who ain't about that. I only want niggas who about that life, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, win, lose, or draw, nigga, it's about respect thing. Oh, the homie gonna go. On go at all times, right? Real man shit. Only real men understand this, right? And so, when we had this black meeting, one of the niggas, cause we in regular clothes now, jobs, niggas, one of them niggas from Harlem Crip, not Harlem Crip, but, and not A-Tray, I tell you, maybe Kitchen. Them niggas shot me a screwdriver this long. Basically, they was telling me that, listen, you gotta watch these niggas, right? So soon as they shot me a screwdriver after the meeting, here come Frank calling my name. On the intercom. Detroit Strangler report to the front office. Detroit Strangler report to the front office. Now, I'm knowing I'm about to go back to the county, go back to the joint. In order for them not to send me back to the joint, do you know this nigga? Now, when you come in the Scapular House on 104th, 108th and Main, as soon as you walk in, it's the desk where you meet people. You go to the right, it's rooms, a TV room, and there's other rooms around to the dinner room. You go to the left, it's rooms around to the dinner room. And on the other side of that, it's the ladies. It's co-ed. But you never fuck with them. So, he made the whole fucking building hold hands rosary while some Catholic song was playing, and we made amends just not to send me to the fucking back to the county. Now, during that time, the old man Mexican, he had lent me some money and I had paid him and we was cool. And my roommate, I had a Mexican roommate. It was three of us. It was me, the Chinese dude, and a Mexican. And after that incident, the Mexican asked me, my people asking me how I treat you. And I told him, I ain't got no problem with you. You don't bother me, I won't bother you. That your boy was bothering me. And I ain't had no issues after that. But when I got that screwdriver, I realized, because I'm hip, But I wasn't all the way hip to how these niggas move and who was who. You know, even though this was clearly wasn't a non-politics scenario. Clearly. Even though it was presented like that. You know what I'm saying? It's probably why it's closed down now. Because nigga can get to you real close. You know, I could have easily been out on one of them trips and them niggas sent a mob through that bitch and gunned the nigga down. Real talk. And so that's basically what they was telling me, how to stay on point. Gave me a screwdriver, even though I couldn't take that with me on the when I go with Officer Ware. But so that cooled down, and I did about another. Man, I did about another 9 months in that bitch. And I remember doing, because my sentence of 3.5 years for the gun, basically, I ended up doing only 2 years. Based on my record and not having no priors, not ever being in jail. I got a thing called, what was it called? C-flat, some shit. I forgot the name of it, but it was called some weird ass name to where niggas in my case basically got not a slap on the wrist based on me not being in jail before, but you got some leniency with probation and all that on top of it. So I you know, I remember that for some reason the county was so packed that some niggas was telling the people to go back to, send them back to the county, and them niggas was coming back in a couple days getting they motherfucking shit from the building that the people was holding, that they was about to send to their people or to the county. They would come and pick it up themselves. And I remember saying, well, because by this time I'm already knowing I'm only going to be here another 2 months. And I'm going to be getting about this motherfucker, going to the probation and doing my thing. So I finally get restless thinking I'm going to go to the county and these niggas going to send me home. Do you know them motherfuckers made me do all 3 days, all 60 days in the county? So now when I go back to the county, them motherfuckers send me to the old jail, the old Central Main jail. I'm in 2300. This motherfucker got leaks in that bitch. Motherfuckers gotta wear cut up t-shirts because of the spiders. I'm talking about, man, this is hygiene. I'm like, nigga, I'm in that bitch fully in situations where the blacks and Mexicans not getting along when I just left a fucking peaceful ass in there. I was mad as hell I made that decision. But so I go through all that, and then the day I get out, they send me back. They the day I get out, when you get out in LA County, you go through the out process, and then when they cut your wristband and give you all your money on your books, you know it's real. You done got your clothes and out process and shit. And the last thing I remember, you gotta walk down a long ass fleet of stairs, probably like, it's all stairs, and it's probably like 6 flights. I remember leaping down 4 stairs at a time, getting out that bitch like a dog that's been. And as soon as I got out that motherfucker, I went to, cause right down the street is a Denny's. And, you know, while I was in the halfway house, I forgot to tell you all this. While I was in the halfway house, I had a protection scheme going on. It was a white boy in there where niggas was on his ass. And so I hollered at the homies and told them, look, I'm gonna extort this nigga, get paid, and y'all just stand down. And so during the whole time, these niggas, I was breaking them off half of what he was paying me for them not to fuck with him. In return, him paying me for them not to fuck with him. But me and him had got cool based on, the protection I was giving him. And he was a hooper too, a white boy that hoop. And so we would be out at the parks and shit, and he would be one of the guys who always hoop. And he would be asking me all these questions about how I fucked up my situation, because I would be going to all these parks with boots on and dominating this motherfucker. LA, wherever we went, in every city, it was a gang of homies out there hooping. And of course, we pull up 10 niggas with motherfucking lunch bags and shit to eat with little juices and shit. But me, I go straight to the court. And I got a little fan club. It's my niggas I ride with every day, trying to see what I'm about to do at this park against some new niggas. So it was love. And so I go to Denny's. I ran all the way to Denny's right down the street. Got a steak, because I had about $100 left over. Got a steak and fries, or steak and eggs, one of the two. And the white boy came and picked me up. And from Denny's, the next morning, I went to his house. We chopped it up. The next morning, I learned how to ride a motorcycle, his motorcycle. And then that evening of the same day, I was heading to Atlanta to my broad who had came at the time, who had came down and was coming to see me while I was up in there. But that's just a couple stories of me being in LA and a little insight on what it's like being up in the county and Wayside and things of that nature. And people in LA, they'll know what I'm talking about. They'll know exactly what I'm talking about on the whole story. Chime in if you know what I'm talking about. Comment, let me know if you hip, if you've been locked up in these places. But that's my story for today. And we out. Peace.